My dad is one of those people. He's just so good with money. And he's Chinese, so maybe it's stereotypical, but it's true. I've picked up a ton of his money-saving habits over the years. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this really powerful financial mindset that's so deeply rooted in Chinese culture. And we're going to uncover the simple, totally actionable secret behind it all.
Okay, to kick things off, I just want to put one number in front of you. A really, really stunning number. 45.9%. So, what on earth is this? Well, this was China's gross national savings rate back in December of 2021. Let that sink in. That means for every $100 earned, almost 46 of them were put away, saved.
Now, here's where it gets really wild. When you put that number into context, look at this chart. China's nearly 46% savings rate absolutely dwarfs what we see in the United States, which, usually hangs out somewhere between 3.5% and 5%. That is a gigantic difference. We're talking almost 10 times more. So, what is going on here? How is that even possible? All right, so to really get the how, we first have to tackle the why. And the first big piece of that puzzle? It's all about culture. It's about what money really means in society. See, from a really young age, saving money is taught as this honorable, almost virtuous thing to do. For example, kids often get what's called lucky money in these little red envelopes for holidays and birthdays. And the parents, they really encourage them to save it, not just run out and spend it. It's about building that muscle, that habit, right from the get-go. And this just perfectly sums up how central the idea of wealth is. Comedian Ronnie Chang has this great line where he points out that the big greeting during Chinese New Year isn't Happy New Year. Nope, it's Gong Xi Fa Kai, which basically just means, I hope you get rich. It's amazing, right? Money isn't some awkward taboo subject. It's literally a shared wish, a common goal.
But, it's not just about culture. There are these really powerful demographic forces at play, too. And honestly, a sense of real necessity that makes saving absolutely critical.
One of the biggest factors here was the one-child policy, which was in effect for decades. Now, it was designed to control the population, sure, but it had these massive, unforeseen ripple effects on everything from family finances to gender dynamics and the pressure people feel every day.
So because of a traditional preference for sons, to carry on the family name, the policy led to this really significant gender imbalance. At its peak, you had about 122 boys being born for every 100 girls. And you can guess what that does, right? It's a classic supply and demand problem. It put this incredible pressure on men to be financially successful, to really stand out from the crowd if they wanted to find a partner.
And on top of all that, this social safety net just isn't the same. There aren't really direct equivalents to things like a 401k or an IRA. A lot of people are pretty nervous about the future of the state pension system, and the cost for huge life events, we're talking healthcare, education, are just sky high. So personal savings, it's not just a good idea, it's a necessity. It's about survival and security.
So, okay, you've got the cultural values pushing one way, and you've got this demographic necessity pushing the exact same way. It's a perfect storm for saving. But what's the actual method? What's the simple, practical secret that ties this all together and makes those crazy high savings rates a reality?
All right, here it is, the big secret. It isn't some complicated financial product or stock market trick. It's a really simple, incredibly powerful, and super disciplined way of budgeting. It's all about making sure every single dollar has a job. Here in the West, we actually have a name for it, zero-based budgeting. The idea is super simple. Your income minus your expenses should equal exactly zero at the end of the month. But here's the key. Expenses includes everything. It's not just your rent and your groceries, it's also your savings, your investments, and any money you're using to pay off debt. You treat saving like a bill you have to pay. Let's look at how this actually works. Check out this example. Let's say your income is $4,000. With this method, you don't just pay your bills and see what's left over. No, you proactively assign money to your savings goals. Your emergency fund, maybe saving for a car, paying off student loans. You treat them like they're non-negotiable expenses. And the result? The amount left over is exactly zero, because every single dollar got a mission. Of course, a system is only as good as the habits that you build around it, right? So let's break down the 4 key habits that really make this whole thing work.
Okay, here are the 4 pillars. First, avoid luxury status symbols. Second, a huge one, live on way less than you actually make. Third, get really, really honest about prioritizing needs over wants. And fourth, this one's simple but so powerful, eat at home more often.
That idea of living on less, it comes from a really deep place. For my dad, he grew up with almost nothing. There were days he literally couldn't afford to eat. So when he finally started earning his own money, his goal wasn't just about getting rich. For him, saving money, it was his way of making sure he would never have to sleep hungry again. It's a mindset that's built on a deep need for security, not just piling up cash.
Now, prioritizing needs over wants doesn't mean you can never spend money on nice things. The idea is just to be reasonable, you know? If something is going to directly benefit your health or your ability to work, like a really good ergonomic chair, that's a smart purchase. That's a need. But spending thousands on designer clothes just for the label, that's a want. The whole game is just making smart, frugal choices where it counts.
And finally, that simple habit of eating at home. Growing up, going out to a restaurant was a big deal. It was for special occasions. The much more common way to socialize was just having friends and family over for a big dinner at home. Yeah, it saves a ton of money, but it's just a different, maybe even more personal way to connect with people.
When you look at it, all of these habits, this whole system, they all point back to one central idea. Saving isn't just about numbers in a bank account. It's about defining what security and freedom really mean to you. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What does financial security truly mean to you? Is it about freedom, stability, something else? It's worth figuring out.